You've been working hard, but then you see a new training method on social media, so you decide to try it out and stop what you were doing. And then next week, the same thing happens. And before you know it, you're doubting everything that you do. Is this the best way to train? You're chopping and changing between training methods, and you feel like you're on the wrong path. There's so many methods, so much variety, and so much BS, and 99% of footballers don't train in the correct way, and that is why they never make it. You're not missing talent or hard work, you're missing out on efficiency, improving fast with less effort. And through this training method, which by the way costs absolutely nothing, no fancy equipment or crazy routine, your progress will skyrocket. You'll start balling out every single week and eventually get signed to a pro academy. But what actually is it? Wall passing. Every pro you see on the TV has done this for thousands of hours, and it's the whole reason why they made it pro in the first place. Why? Because it allowed them to improve faster than all the competition. Football is a very simple sport, and if you can do the basics better than everyone else, you will stand out every single game, and that is exactly what wall passing works on. Your passing, your first touch, ball control, your timing. These four things will all improve drastically. That's your overall technical ability. It's the difference between you playing a killer pass or your opponent intercepting it. It's the difference between you scoring a ridiculous volley or blazing it over the bar. And it's even the difference between you taking a perfect first touch or getting slide tackled and being injured. There's so many scenarios on the pitch where these attributes will make you 10 times the player that you actually are right now. And a few other things that this has helped me with very recently is ankle strength, concentration, and overall mobility. Because when you're the type of player who gets used to taking touches with all parts of their foot, not just the laces, not just the inside foot, but parts like the outside foot, it just gives you another option. And this makes you a more versatile player. And when you take thousands of touches controlling a fast-paced ball, your ankles become stronger, your concentration improves, so you can say goodbye to ankle injuries and bad touches. Okay, so now you're aware of how good you're going to become, you need the specific exercises to actually maximize your results. Start off with basic passes on the floor, beginning with 2-touch, just to build that rhythm. Firstly, use your weak foot at least as much as your strong foot, but it would be ideal if you could use it even more than your strong foot to help it catch up and actually improve. And with this, start very slow just to build that rhythm. You don't need to be smacking the ball in like a million miles an hour. Literally just start slow, build that rhythm, and then once you're comfortable, you can increase the speed. And then eventually you can get to the point where you're smacking it in as hard as you possibly can to really test your touch and your accuracy. And then from there, progress this to 1 touch. By the way, this is the most important part of the video, so you're going to need to remember these exercises. So I'd highly recommend that you actually write them down in your notes page. Now for exercise 2, we'll make things a little bit more dynamic, and we'll do the exact same thing but in the air. Football isn't always a pretty game, and it's not played on the floor all the time. Sometimes players will hoof the ball up in the air, and if you want to get signed to an academy, you need to be the type of player who can take an effortless touch, bring the ball down perfectly, and that is exactly what this will work on. Taking the ball out of the air with a touch, or taking any touches in the air, is actually way harder than most people think, and most never master this. So here, remember the training philosophy. Start slowly to learn the pattern, and then once you're comfortable, hit the ball harder and lower, and this will test your reaction time and your touch. And then eventually do this with 1 touch. For exercise 3, we've got rotations. To be an elite player, you cannot neglect turning. There's so many situations where there's a player behind you and you can't always just pass backwards. Sometimes you're going to need to play a nice pass out to the left or right before receiving again. Otherwise, you're just going to fit in. Sometimes you need to take risks, and this will help you with that exactly. So here, pass to the original wall, then take a touch before playing to the wall on its side, and then in front of you. And this will make you a way more mobile player who's actually able to turn and has great feet at the same time. And again, as usual, the next progression is to do this in the air. And if you can do this in the air, I guarantee that your technique is elite. Exercise 4, becoming versatile. Here we have using the inside followed by the outside of your foot. And you probably never use the outside of your foot, and I was exactly the same. But when you actually get comfortable on it and using it in game, you just have another option. So if you're in a tight space, for example, you are just way more likely to come out on top because you have an extra part of your foot that you can actually use to escape. So start on the floor, passing with the inside and the outside while alternating. And then once you're comfortable with that, go for it in the air. Warning though, this is going to be very hard. The aerial version is difficult, but this is what football's all about. This is why you fell in love with the sport to begin with, because it's challenging, because it's tough. And one of the best things about this type of drill is you can just get lost in it. You can get into a flow state where you're just experimenting, trying new things, getting comfortable in different parts of your foot, and it will just make you a well-rounded player. And with this exercise specifically, along with a few of the others, you're going to be using your brain way more than usual. If you're just, doing basic passes here and there, just in general football, doing the things that you've always done, you're dribbling in a certain way, you're taking a shot in a specific way, that's all well and good, you are going to improve from that, but it makes you way more versatile to actually learn something new. You're going to engage your brain a little bit more, you're going to be able to think a little bit better, and from this, your football IQ will also improve. And lastly, for exercise 5, you can make variations of all of these drills simply by adding a partner into the mix. And this will make it even more fun. But look, obviously their passes might not be perfect to you off the wall, you might be getting annoyed at them, the ball might be getting fired into you at an awkward angle in an awkward place, but this is going to test test your reaction time and your touch even more, so you're just gonna get even better. So now you know which exercises to do, the next question is how long and how often should you do them for? The main thing here is consistency over intensity, and I don't actually mean the intensity of the session, but rather how often you're actually training. Don't go all in for 1 week, train for 4 hours a day, and then burn yourself out at the end of that week, because that's not gonna help you become a pro footballer. Instead, train for 1 hour and try to stick to this at least 5 times per week. I promise if you stick to that, that's 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month, and over the course of 5 years, that's like 5,000 hours. And if you actually do that, most of you watching this, by the way, you're not gonna do that. The likelihood is you won't do that. But if you do, in 5 years time from now, you will be in a very strong position where it's very likely that you will make it pro. Now, you may be thinking, I don't know where to find a wall. I have no idea where one would be. And before you feel sorry for yourself, understand that I was in the exact same position as you. And right now, if you don't know where a wall is, it's actually because you don't deserve to know where one is. Let me explain. If you wanted to find a wall, you would have simply already found a wall. And I know this sounds really obvious, but it's actually the truth. So many people think everything should just be handed to them on a plate. But for me personally, I had to walk around my city and my town just searching for a wall that I could actually train on. I'd get kicked off places, and other places, you know, I just wouldn't be able to find a wall simply. But eventually, I found the perfect wall. So for you watching this, I can give you some pointers on how you're going to actually find a wall, but ultimately, this is going to come down to you. If you are serious about improving and you want to find a wall, you will find one. Just start by walking around your city and simply searching. Some of the best locations that I've actually found are firstly squash courts, but you might need a gym membership for this. But with a squash court, it's perfect. This is the B-roll that you've seen in some of the videos now, because there's obviously 3 walls, right? It's like this. So you can do all those rotation exercises. A squash court is going to be your best friend here, but if you don't have a gym membership, then there are other options. Car parks is one of the best ones that I've actually seen, because firstly, it's free to access. There are car parks absolutely everywhere as well, and the walls are huge. They're not just kind of tiny walls like this. It's huge, so you can do all the aerial stuff, and you actually have a lot of space to do it. But just make sure that you don't go at a really busy time where there are cars coming in and out all day, because then, you know, you don't want to actually be concentrating on, oh, there might be a car, I might get ran over. You want to just be fully locked in and get in the zone. So for car parks, evenings are definitely more ideal, so you can actually lock in. But other than that, there are so many different locations. Like, you might even just go and literally walk around your city. You might find a shop, and at the back of this shop, they've just got a wall that you can use. Or on every single street, right, there's a curb. You can just use a curb. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now. Or you can go to tennis courts, because at some tennis courts, you know, they've got a wall behind the tennis club, and you can use that, for example. But the point is, you have to be creative, use your imagination, and if you want to find a wall, like I said, you will find a wall. And if you know any other areas that would have a wall, please comment them down below so you can help the other ballers out. But other than that, you've just got to go hunting, and eventually you will find a wall, and it will change your career. The only other question you may have now is, do I need to do anything else? And the simple answer is yes. Wall passing will help a lot, but there are a few other things that you still need to practice. Cone drills, unrestricted work, and 1v1s. The wall isn't going to help with this, so practice these things regularly too. And then overall position-specific work is needed, like crossing, for example, if you're a winger, and there are hundreds more examples of position-specific training, but don't worry about this until your technique is actually elite.